Hey, welcome to episode number 2 of That's What the F Happens. I'm one of your hosts, Ali, and your other host is my boy Clay Dog over there. What up, Dieg?
What up, Dieg? What up, Dieg?
I like that hat, Dieg. You get that at that brewery or what?
Yeah, you know, the usual. One brewer or another. This is Finback out of Queens.
Oh,
Shout out,
Finback.
shout out to Finback.
Shout out. I don't have a beer right now. I just ate so much food. I'm going to get a beer probably like partway through, but my stomach was just so full from eating so much, trying to scarf down this food. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do. I got some beers. I got a double that I just got. I'm looking forward to. It's actually a collabo with Civil Society and it's the breweries in Denver. It's called like My Something Friends or
Our mutual friend.
Our Mutual Friends. Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
Yo, so
Collabo
when you
between
say
them.
double, you're talking double IPA, right?
Double IPA, that's right.
Nice. Yo,
I picked it up today, you know. That's how it goes. We are on social distancing, so when you go to the brewery to get your cans, like cats are just stand like first of all, you can't even go in. You have to just go to the door to get it, and then they go get it and bring it back. And cats are just standing so far apart. But like there's hell of cats trying to get cans.
so that shit is like in The Wire and in the movies when it's like the crackheads line up to get their score and they just got that little neat little line and they walk up, throw the money, and be on your way.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that the breweries that do cans they may not do as many numbers, but I feel like they're selling the cans for sure.
well,
At least Civil is selling the cans. I've never been there to pick up without someone in front of me and someone behind me.
so I mean, I think you're seeing it's breweries, but it's all small businesses and probably businesses in general. But you know, everyone is scrambling to figure out how to manage the the times we're in right now. So it's uh, in back in Albuquerque, the breweries they're desperately advocating to the governor for permission to do home deliveries and whatnot. I don't know I don't know if
We
that.
got home deliveries too, but it's only on. I think it's on Civil delivers. I don't know how they deliver because they really just deliver either up by West Palm, which is like right now Corona traffic. There's no traffic. I could get to West Palm in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But they're delivering up in West Palm, and then they deliver up in the Jupiter area where their original brewery was. I don't even know if you call it flagship brewery because they have the second one that's in West Palm.
Oh, so Civil Society has multiple locations.
They do that too.
Nice, man. Well, you know, this is a bit of a rewind, but yesterday's theme was that of the man in the river. If you could
Right.
spit that quote out for me one more time.
I'll spit it out. Episode 1's quote was, "A man never steps in the same river twice."
Right. And
the next time he steps in it, the river's changed, so has the man.
And that's going to be the beer industry. The beer industry is going to be a different river after this. And you'll probably see some thinning of the herd. I think it's good. I mean, restaurants are taking a shellacking right now. And
yeah, I don't know how the restaurants will survive because that's just one of the businesses that, 9 out of 10 that start fail and the margins are low and, unfortunately the good ones are in good locations. So they have high rent, low margins.
Yep.
With no business coming in the door. It's not a good equation for withstanding time.
There will be so many small businesses that go under because of this, and so another change. The river that will look different is just the nationwide the business climate. And
I think there's going to be a lot of commercial space that opens up And the rent on
Real
commercial
estate.
space is going to go down
Hell yeah.
because people are just also going to realize that when you have a business, you want to stay as lean as possible.
You know, I jump on Twitter from time to time. I enjoy it for news and laughs. And someone tweeted something to that effect. They said, you know, one of the big lessons that should come out of this is just frugality and living below your means. Because if you've been living below your means, you'll weather the storm. Uh, and that's real, you know. But we live in a country, and you and I have already talked about this. We live in a country and a society that encourages us to spend, to not be thrifty, to not be wise with our money, to keep up with the Kardashians, literally and figuratively, you know, and that there are people that fall into that, and that they're most likely paying the price right now. But
yeah, but even if you've been living below your means, the expenses are just so high for so many people
yep.
because of what we talked about yesterday with the real wage not increasing, while everything else just keeps getting more and more expensive. People try to maintain the same standard of living that they had, but they're not making any more money, but everything else around them is costing more money. So even if you've been attempting to live under your means, as I always try to do, there's only so much savings available to be out of work.
Oh, 100%.
At some point, income needs to come in.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, is that concept, you know, living below your means, that applies to people that are still employed and living through this. Like if you still have your job and your income is more or less the same, that it applies to you. If you've lost your job, then doesn't apply to you. So it's not useful advice. If you
it is, though, because you can take that moving forward. Even if you've lost your job and you didn't live below your means before, the lessons that are remembered
yep.
are the ones where you really felt it.
Yep.
So I think people will start to live below their means and become more like the German people, where being frugal is actually viewed positively.
Here, I'm kind of fascinated with this idea. Like, we keep hearing about ventilators. I believe I just read an article. You know, I got a news update. It says 18 residents in a senior living facility diagnosed with coronavirus. I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound too good. I mean, that sounds like, you know, like the worst possible.
Well, if you got like 18 people, you said, in a retirement home?
Yeah, I mean, this is.
If you got 18 people in a retirement home, I think you pretty much have the entire retirement home is getting it.
And
probably staff too.
Supposedly, I mean, I shouldn't even say supposedly. Like, let's be real. Like, if you lend any credence to the severity of this disease, it's just going to run like wildfire through these people. But anyway, 2 hours pass, and from 18 people infected, it's like two senior citizens have died. I'm like, well, that was fast. Like, did they die in the matter of 2 hours, or, you know? And I kind of breezed through the update, and the thing that stood out to me most is that both individuals were reported to have, what do they call it? What's it? Underlying conditions. And
right. They always have underlying conditions, because by the time you're old, you're gonna have underlying conditions.
Well,
but the people always die. So, like, that's the thing about virus, or this virus. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's the thing about this thing, is that people are passing away, but they have all these other conditions. So then they're just attributing it to the flu that they caught, but they also had all these other conditions. So who's to say that it wasn't a combination of the condition they had, the meds they were taking, then they got the thing, then they got put on like these super strong meds, because I heard the meds for this are pretty hectic as well, and potentially could take out someone old. The meds that they're given as well.
There's so many things about this that, again, they're problematic, and it just adds fuel to the fire for the skeptics. I mean, when you see underlying conditions, say, okay, so what were those underlying conditions? How do we know that this person didn't have pneumonia to begin with, and then
Cancer,
yeah, or whatever it was, right? So that doesn't help things, because it just it clouds the water, so to speak, and it does speak also to the idea of cause versus correlation, right? I
I
mean,
think I told you about the dude that came in with the aneurysm. His brain was bleeding, but he also had the flu. Then he died, and they're like, he died from the flu. And they're like, wait, his bleeding brain had nothing to do with that?
Exactly. So again, I mean, yeah, we're putting our tin hats on, whatever, but it's problematic. And the thing is, there's plenty of incentive for government, for hospitals, for anyone involved in the chain, the media, to perform.
Media especially, because they're selling fear.
Yeah, and so
we'll get into that CBS nonsense too.
The preference is for coronavirus as opposed to, it's not a story if it's two senior citizens die of pneumonia. It's not a story if they die of anything else. But coronavirus is,
it's an automatic story as well.
Exactly, and I think this 100% ties into your CBS news about. I mean, maybe you could.
There's on CBS. I forget the rapper who said, "I'll turn on whatever channel if I want to see BS." And now they're actually under fire right now.
Okay, so a couple of issues here with the video. First, the video, if we can get the video of them side by side, the video showing in the report of the New York hospital on top of there it is. So one of those is a hospital in Italy. The other one is the CBS report showing a hospital in New York. So it's clearly fake news that CBS is trying to sensationalize the coronavirus outbreak.
For dropping the fake video, the video of the Italian hospital, and then saying that it was the New York hospital. So CBS is under fire. But I did a little digging into CBS. CBS is owned by Viacom, and I checked into who was on that board for Viacom. That dude, Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, happens to be on the board. And also, I was seeing that these Viacom numbers, because now it's like Viacom CBS or something. They must have merged or something. But their numbers are down, basically. So, I mean, they have a definite incentive to push whatever seems the most outrageous.
Everyone got their incentive.
Interesting also in the video that I was watching on this exact topic, they were talking about Cuomo, your boy.
FEMA gave the state 400 ventilators. To that, he said this.
What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000? You pick the 26,000 people who are going to die because you only sent 400 ventilators.
Yes, report was screaming and yelling that he needed 30,000 ventilators right now, or 26,000 people were going to die right now. Well, when he was exposed for having thousands of extra ventilators in a warehouse, he backtracked and suddenly he didn't mean exactly what he said.
We have ventilators in a stockpile and we didn't send them to the hospitals yet. Of course we didn't. That's the whole point. The hospitals don't need them yet. The hospitals aren't at their apex. The hospitals have enough ventilators today.
It's a bit absurd. But let's talk a little bit about that CBS thing. What did you think about the CBS?
Rewind for a second, because, again, everyone's got a dog in the fight. Everyone's got their own little opportunity. Cuomo, he's posturing himself right now as a presidential candidate, and people are already murmuring about that. So, of course, spar with Trump, that plays well to Democrats. Oh, he's demonstrating all these leadership skills, and he's taking.
Oh, yeah, they were trying to say that Cuomo, he's trying to set himself up to run for president.
You also mentioned Robert Kraft, and it's funny because I didn't know anything about his connection to CBS Viacom, but I did notice his name in the news because apparently he used his private jet to fly in like 1 million masks from China. So,
wait, are you kidding me?
the martyr, you know, it's like, come on, man. And then people are tweeting it like,
and then they're like, and then someone's like, yo, let me get a mask. He's like, nah, I need them.
what?
He like needs all 1,000 for himself.
It's just funny because then you got people being like,
I use a new mask every day.
Yeah.
So that's only like 1,000 days for me.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm already thinking, okay, well, the instructions now, again, we talked about this already. It was, we don't need masks. That's what the instructions were initially. And Trump
is saying he's not going to wear a mask, which leads me to believe, does Trump even really think that, well, Trump from the beginning was like, it's not that crazy.
I think that Trump in his mind believes that this is not, he doesn't believe in any of this. And so I think a lot of his supporters feel that way. If you're a skeptic of government, of the media, you know, plenty of people that
the narrative, the official narrative.
You can count me in certain ways. I'm sorry, like there's enough there to make me skeptical, including that a damn senior citizen that that is working in, you know, those type of offices, government offices, and you've seen them. These guys, they're holding meetings in closed quarters and whatnot, in close proximity to one another. So like, there's a good chance someone's going to get infected in that sort.
Get that Rona.
But
speaking of senior citizens, there was the lady who was 108 years old, and she survived the Spanish flu when her sister got murked by the Spanish flu, but she didn't survive coronavirus. And then I was saying to Jessica, if you're 108, is it possible to not say you died of old age? It's another Rona death.
Again, I mean, we've already discussed this, but I think hospitals, if they're banking on getting some sort of funding based on their numbers, based on the number of incidents they had, you've got an incentive to check one box rather than the other. So that's a perverse incentive of the bureaucracy and metrics and the way funding flows out. So you know, again, I'm on the fence about this thing, man. Like there are things that I do in my everyday that I feel I'm a little bit, you know, I'm not keen on going back to work right now. So it's like part of me somewhere in my.
I'm taking precautions. I'm staying away from people. Yeah. I'm not going out unless it's for food. I mean, I go for my runs, but I mean, I'm on the sidewalk by myself. I'm not getting close to anybody.
Are you busting out the bank robbing mask yet, man? Like I see that's because none of us have masks, and they're saying you need a mask. So what do? You got to do some makeshift, right?
I got a mask.
Oh, you do? Oh, you're one of those that
we're gonna do. This is the new world. So all right. So we talked a little bit about the CBS thing.
There's another.
What about the other article where Florida's unemployment? Did you see that? So let me give you a little backstory.
Yeah.
Florida changed their unemployment. What's that?
I wasn't following the story. I mean, I got the.
All right, check it out. So Florida, back in the day, changed their unemployment to what's known as reemployment. And to get it is crazy work. You know, I actually never even ended up getting reemployment because I just ended up getting a job before I could get through the whole system. Which was like kind of their goal.
Yeah,
but the way to get your benefits is crazy hard. The system is hard to operate. They don't necessarily really help you get the job. They just have all these requirements when you're unemployed. It's like a full-time, like you really do spend a full-time job looking for jobs when you're on the reemployment.
Yeah.
But so the bottom line is like all these people in Florida are unemployed, right? Like thousands and thousands of people. They can't get through the system to get their benefits. So now they're saying Florida may be at risk for Trump because not only is the economy bad, but now Floridians can't get their benefits. And see, it was okay when it was just people in Miami and people in Broward who couldn't get their benefits. But now you got Central Florida, too, out of business. And that's really what carries the election.
You got to worry about that damn panhandle.
Tampa. Whichever way Hillsborough County goes is the way Florida goes, really, for the most part. So now they're saying – so now you got DeSantis, who's the governor. He's pointing the finger at Rick Scott, who's actually a senator from Florida, but he was the governor from, 2011 to 2019. So everyone's like, it's Rick Scott's fault. It's Rick Scott's fault. And as it turns out, if you even get your benefits, Florida pays the lowest in the whole, some of the lowest in the whole country. It's $275 a week. But what Jessica was pointing out is that in order to get your federal unemployment, which is $600 extra a week, you have to be in the system for your state unemployment. But people can't get into the state unemployment. It's the bureaucracy.
That's the beautiful clusterfuck. Well, it's also by design.
It was by design. They're saying it was designed to fail. But they also said they paid $77 million to make the system, but the system was designed to fail.
No, well, but of course, Republicans, they hate the dole, right? We talked about that yesterday or the day before, which again, the irony that it's the Republicans that have twice now sent out checks to everyone. They hate to do that. They hate for people to get what they perceive as free money they didn't work for, to develop a reliance on.
Well, unless you're rich.
Right, it's got to be corporate.
Unless you're rich.
Corporate welfare is okay, but not individual welfare.
Right.
It's what they
bailouts for all the corporations.
Well, MLK had a good quote on that. He was like, America believes in rugged individualism for its people and generous socialism for its businesses and elite
corporations.
Yeah, busted out the lid too, huh?
Yeah, going lid life.
Lid life.
Lid life. Lid life.
A lid life crisis.
Lid life crisis, man. That's a great one. I feel like that would be a name of a track that we did together.
That's funny you mention that because Rock was sharing some of our old songs in a group chat the other day. Splash Effect.
Yep.
Nice, man. More civil society, right?
Civil and our mutual friends.
Nice. When I went to our mutual friend in Denver, they got that strip there with 9 to 15 breweries all within.
Yeah, Laramie, right?
And it's just so easy to just get hammered going from brewery to brewery.
I went when I was snowboarding, which was in February, and they had some pretty legit stuff. I'm actually interested in this one. This is Strata, Hallertau Blanc, Vic Secret, Lemon Drop, and Simcoe Cryo. And that Lemon Drop, I really like that hop. That's a pretty legit hop. This one is what, 8%. Obviously you can see what it looks like.
That haze. Got that haze.
It's not as the Lemon Drop is an afterthought on it.
Well, see, I like that Hallertau Blanc. I think that's a German hop. So I think that might be one of what they call the noble hops, which are more traditional. And I've just gotten more down that sort of traditional path where I just these very it's almost like subtler taste, which you get from a Pilsner or Helles, those sort of styles. I still drink IPAs, but they don't seem to give me the same satisfaction. So I think I'm just getting old. I know there's a lot of old people that they like beer, but you're yo, you should try this IPA or whatever. And I just want my fucking Miller Lite. And
right. That ain't me though.
Well, I'm starting to relate to those people. I don't think it would be Miller Lite for me, but
eventually we're all going to be those people because we're going to be out of work, and the idea of a $20 4-pack is going to be outrageous.
100%.
Coors Light. We're going to be drinking Coors Light. I'll actually just not be drinking. I'll just stop drinking, and I'll just get this is one of the last vices that are out there. So when I can't do it on this level, I'll just call it. I'll do
By
other stuff.
the way, that's something we haven't really discussed, man. Like, how wild is it that liquor stores are deemed as essential in this time?
And dispensaries.
Oh, they are. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Because I find that fascinating. It's like, keep the people doped up, keep them drunk.
It's like Brave New World. We gotta eventually just go back through that book, but that's kind of how it was there. They just kept them doped up the whole time.
I've never read it, but that's what we are, man. Is we really are. It's in certain ways we're more metaphorically doped up, with the social media, with
Dopamine up. We're dopamine up.
Well, we're talking music. We're seeing a bit of an evolution now because, and we haven't mentioned this either, nightclubs and bars, they're taking a shellacking right now. And I've seen some interesting developments as a result. People are talking about like club quarantine is like a hashtag, and I don't know who started it, but D Nice definitely has run with that. He's you know who D Nice is?
Nah, tell me.
I know you know the name. Like, he had a hit back in the day. Like,
they call me D Nice.
Yeah, my name is D Nice, right?
My name is D Nice.
Your boy Jeff would be all over that one. But
is that like taking at your suckers and you don't know how I did it?
Yeah. And so he was part of BDP, and if I remember, did you know who? What was his name?
DJ Scott LaRock?
No, damn, I'm blanking on his name. There was a dude that had a run as a podcast host for a while. I keep saying, I want to say Cactus Jack, but that was a wrestler, right? Cactus Jack. But he was a dude that he was in the industry, and he had a dope podcast. He did a dope one about the death of Chris Lighty, which, if you've never heard, that joint is fascinating, about Chris Lighty. If you look up the podcast about him, how he died, that's a interesting story right there. And it was done by this dude. Damn, I'm blanking on the name, Cactus Jack or whatever. But one of the individuals that he had on his podcast was D Nice, and this was 3, 4, 5 years ago. He had D Nice on there, and D Nice is actually a very good symbol for these times because, in his past, he could have blown up as a rapper. He, with his solo stuff with BDP and whatnot. But I believe he ended up homeless or something crazy, like he was just down in the dirt basically. And he kind of bounced back. I believe he taught himself to code or to do, websites or something like that. And he taught himself photography. Like he just had this drive to be self-taught. And I don't know, for me, I marvel at, is that something innate in people, or is it born out of, desperation, or a combination of both? What is it? But, it's a fascinating story. And he recreated himself. He started like doing, all these different activities.
Well, let me just, we'll get right back into it, but just to say the self-taught thing, that's why the trivium form of education was so crucial, and we shouldn't have gone away from it. I think we went away from it purposely. But the whole concept of a classical liberal education is that you will be self-taught. You self-teach yourself everything. By the time you're like 12 or 13 years old, you already know how to teach yourself. You don't need to go to college to rely on an expert, because you can read the primary material yourself and teach yourself, as opposed to needing like a textbook or something. So he DJs a set, and like, I think the first time it was like 10 to 15,000 people jump on, and they're on there for hours, and like, you see the numbers. Oh shit, he is hitting 20,000. Oh damn. So then the next night, or within a matter of nights, he did it again, and it's like 50, 60, and he eventually had like 100,000 followers on this like Instagram live set. So, you got this nationwide live party. People are seen all over the country, and mad celebrity like Bernie Sanders, I think, went in there, Oprah Winfrey, and supposedly Biden, Diddy was in there. I'm gonna call it right now. We are now gonna wrap up episode number 2.
That's what F happens.
That's what the F happens.
I told
Thanks
you.
for tuning in.
Happens.
Hope it was interesting to y'all. Leave a comment. Holler at your boys.